Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ongoing Mastery, Presenting and Speaking, the podcast, the video show, and the conversation. So today we are doing an interview with Liz Solar, who she and I have no end of fun going back and forth on all things. And I asked her to come on today to talk about her work as a voiceover artist and all the ways in which ongoing mastery shows up in that genre. So tell us about what you do.
What I do is, so voiceover is actually the voice that you hear over picture. That's basically what it is. But you can also hear voiceover on your radio, on your phone, in the train station, at the airport. Well, you can probably hear other things at the airport right now, which we won't even discuss right now. But voiceover is everywhere. It's ubiquitous. You can't stumble across social media without hearing audio through voice, accompanied by video. That's just the way we're doing things now. So basically, I take a script, I interpret it, and I color it with some type of tone or attitude, some type of personality, create a persona. So whether that's a commercial or a narration or a video game or an audiobook or a telephone system, that's what I do. It's all about blah, blah, blah.
Fantastic. I like that. All about blah, blah, blah. That would be a good t-shirt. And you and I had talked about the fact that now a lot of e-learning audio is becoming text-to-speak transcription, which is just
Yes.
AI. And that for low-level basic things, maybe that's fine. But I have a big concern of what's being lost is the performance. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about with you is because I understand the cost saving issue, but uh, no amount of programming in AI is going to get the inflections and the meaning across the way a human voice can. And how do you get that across to people that don't get that there's a performance involved?
For some people, cost is always going to be the determinator in terms of this is what I want. It's the least expensive route to go. I'm going to do this. Perhaps if you did a side by side test,
Mm.
um, Apple now has several AI voices that I was listening to, and I thought, you know what? They're actually okay for 20, 30 seconds. Do I want to hear hours of this? Do I want to hear an audiobook read like this? Because we have
Yeah.
peaks and valleys. Our voice pitches up when we get excited, it gets lower, it gets more hushed. I'm not sure that AI can do that. And I feel that way about so many different types of AI. There's a storytelling
Mhm.
app now that you put in 3 or 4 facts that you want to relay, and it comes out with a story that's maybe 2 pages long. And it is a template. It's like the Hallmark cards version of storytelling.
All right, I'm making a face so the audio people can't see, but I'm just picturing the look on Kelly's face when she produces this podcast, who is the writer and is a literature professor. The look on her face at that concept.
Well, so
Yikes.
Kirsten, this is an example. My son and the kids are all about the AI. They're excited by it. I think understand the limitations, but also there's an excitement around AI. So
Mm.
my son created a story and read it back, and it was the most vanilla, mundane, fifth grade. No offense to fifth grade writers, but it was the most basic type of story that you could tell, and it was really silly. And even the tags that they put, the dialogue tags that they put, were really silly. They were very
Mm.
earnest, like people were frowning and smiling and distressed. It was
Okay.
just I'm a writer as well, so
Mm.
I was listening to it and I thought, even if you're writing a children's story, there's more feeling behind it. So until and I there's probably that time when the AI will sound pretty compelling. I'm not sure that you can program emotion into any of it.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, I do want to be moving forward with science and moving forward with technology.
Yes.
And I was at DevLearn, the e-learning conference, and was in the expo hall. And all the way in the corner was a vendor who was showing off their technology, which was they take a photo of you and then they use transformation technology to make the mouth move, and they just add voiceover so that that way you don't have to, do it. So it's an AI voice that's like your voice, but it's your face just talking. And I'm sitting there or standing there and the guy's pitching it to me. He's like, this is wonderful. And I could not bring up, like, I just didn't feel like I could say, this is horrifying me to my core as a professional speaker, as someone who teaches for a living. This hurts my soul. So I was politely going, it's very interesting. And I walked away going, oh God. And I don't want to not be open to things, but it's also like, I just, I guess my concern is that it seems like people don't understand the degree of performance that is needed for human connection. And whether it's education, whether it's entertainment, there needs to be performance, doesn't there? I mean, that's what it seems
I,
like to me.
I agree. There are voice actors who love the idea of AI. They feel it's passive income. So bring it on. And other people who feel that AI, it's just not part of their brand. They
Mm,
won't do it. I'm not sure whether it's a morality thing, whether it's a taste thing, whether it's a purist thing about this is my voice. I'm going to use it in this way and I'm going to use it in the moment and it will be a performance and it will not be
got it.
somebody who's manipulating it, behind a curtain through some machinery. So there's that. One thing I can tell you anecdotally is that I have done projects for kids that are like K-12. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of that educational textbook stuff. And it's such a service for kids who have learning disabilities, dyslexia, might have even some uh, audio processing problems, but they can go back and listen to it again until they can really embody some of those messages that they might not get the first time.
Okay.
But what was coming back was the big complainers of AI are kids who say it
Oh,
doesn't sound real or it wasn't engaging them on some level. I'm not even sure that they could pinpoint why, but they
interesting.
knew that it wasn't grabbing them. And out of the mouths of babes.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, because I'm thinking in terms of, there was an e-learning project that I was doing, which was cybersecurity. And what we did was we did a graphic novel approach. And so
Mm.
I got one of my VO people to come in, and Tim did two characters. And one of them was the chief of the spies service, and his name was Steele. And he sent me the first take and a note saying this might be too much. And I sent him back, I love it. Love it. Because he chewed scenery like nobody's business. And it was perfect. And the next one, the other one was a very straight up read, but the chief was like this full William Shatner performance. And he was a little like, this is probably too much. I'm like, no, you nailed it. That's exactly right. And it's won awards.
Well, in especially when you're doing that sounds almost like a gaming version of
Hmm.
e-learning as well. And we're always looking for those characters that are a little bit larger than life, archetypal or stereotypical. And we'll hear it in commercials sometimes where it's that cheesy furniture sale copy,
Yep.
but it's about something else. Like maybe it's about a pharmaceutical, and they're trying to make a point about how bad it is to sell to people that way or convince people that way. Hurry up now. No, no, nobody's listening to that, or I'm not sure who is listening to that and being persuaded. But I think sometimes you have to go big to make those points.
Yeah. And what I'm hoping is with AI, and especially with voiceover work and this kind of work, I'm hoping that yes, maybe it has a foothold in some areas, but that people really start to understand the power of story and the power of performance, so that people like you are brought in to do the specialist work. Because I just don't think I mean, you can tag the hell out of a file to have the AI read it differently. But I think there comes a point at which you're like, but I want to get different takes on it. And that requires a human.
It does, unless you have an entirely different uh, library of a different
Mm,
mood. And I'm wondering, and I don't know the science behind it. How does how does the AI know when to bring up uh, a voice where somebody's excited and
yeah.
really pitching their voice? Hi, we have to hurry up. We have a burning building. Most of it is fairly flat. And
Yeah.
I say this as somebody who, years ago, I booked my first one of those big, crazy phone systems, which was hundreds of thousands of phrases and numbers and libraries of dates and years. And
Wow.
it's like 15 years worth of it. But I've done several of those projects. And the reason why those became so popular was they supplanted actual customer service, you know,
Ah,
departments where people
okay.
used to pick up the phone. And I can remember reading the New York Times maybe 15, 16 years ago, where they were talking about these giant phone systems. And they said, whenever somebody calls customer service at a big company, it's $40 per call to
Mm.
speak with a human, but it's 40 cents per call to speak with a recorded system. So
Ah,
it's
okay.
for some people, it's always going to be about
The money.
the cost savings, about the economics. What's interesting is the very good phone systems actually have great live personal service as well, personal customer service. So you can reach a human more easily on those better systems
Mm. That would be
where they,
Javalia coffee. Javalia coffee would be
okay,
one of those. Yes.
so you know one of them.
Yeah, I
There
sorry, go ahead.
No, there are several like that. My client is a huge banking insurance corporation, and they almost every year are one of the top businesses in Business Week magazine for their customer service.
Yeah, I so the reason I've mentioned Javalia is just because I remember when I was regularly buying it, um, I would, call in every once in a while and they would get the automated. This was a while ago. The automated service wasn't great, but it was
Hmm.
fine. But I'm one of those people that skips. I want to go talk to the human. And every single time, their customer service people were the best trained customer service people I've ever encountered. They were flawless. And I know how hard that job is. And I was just always like, wow, somebody really knows what's going on the back end because they handled they handled everything, including not knowing what to do. Like they handled it
Mm.
beautifully. There was never a moment where they were snowing you, they were putting you on hold to just go figure it out. They're like, I don't know and I need to find out. So give me your number and then I'm going to call you back. Like it was totally upfront, all of it, 100% completely clear communication. And it was like, wow. And I did business with them partly because I was so impressed by the fact that clearly somebody in the company had the commitment.
Well, and you want to support a company like that. And in some of the work that I've done in some of the voiceover scripts, including this one, they had a very clear idea of who their customer was, why they were coming to them, what the values were of that person. There have been clients who have given me 1 or 2 pages of what a persona is like. This is our persona. It's
1 or 2 pages.
yes.
Wow.
This is it was a biography of this person, their age, where they lived, what their interests were, who
Holy
they
cow.
related to. Yes,
That's
it was
wonderful.
quite effective.
Okay.
It was work done at the beginning
Hmm.
so that they could have this ongoing persona because I've been engaged with this company for 15 years and
Okay.
remained with them because they were so clear about their intention.
Oh, that's lovely. That's
But
wonderful.
isn't that I'm sorry, Kirsten. Isn't that part of what you do? You have an intention when you're going in
Hmm.
and you're presenting a training, an idea to people. You know where you're going with it. I mean, people might ask you a question and it might change the direction a little bit, or you're making, someone's making an observation and you're
Hmm.
stopping down to take that in. And sometimes that might change, doesn't change the talk, but it might change a direction for a few moments because you're receptive to that as well. But you're going in with the intention to present a certain uh, bunch of ideas,
Hmm.
values, uh, education.
Yep. Yeah, no, I love I just love the fact that it was multiple pages because normally I think wouldn't normally you'd get maybe a paragraph?
If,
Yeah. Okay.
if, if sometimes, the specs will say, and the specs are the directions that they want to take this copy in. A lot of times it will just say, sound like Morgan Freeman. Like,
How were you supposed to do that?
well, they don't, you know, eh, everybody, Morgan Freeman used to be a big one, or Scarlett
Yeah.
Johansson, and, essentially, or Meryl Streep,
Okay.
these, in really they're archetypes. What do you think of when you think of Morgan Freeman? Like, what feeling does he instill in people? What they're trying to do is get to the essence of who Morgan Freeman is. I mean, I'm certainly not going to do it. I don't have his talent. I don't have his voice. But what is it that he has that they're
Hmm.
looking for that you can distill and say, okay, that's the feeling that I get when I listen to Morgan Freeman. I feel safe. I feel
Okay.
respected. All of those things.
Okay. So then let me ask you to give some advice to the viewers and the listeners. If they are going to be, Well Said is an app that is doing pretty well, but oops, hold on one second. I'm going to mute and I'm going to
Sure.
explain to my son that we're still on the air. Hold on one second.
Okay.
And normally I would re-record this, but no, that's okay. We're just going to roll with it because this is what live recording is. Um,
Yeah.
my teenagers in the other room going, oops. Um, so if someone is bringing in a voiceover artist, what are the things that you really, really love for people to give you for information? Like if you could have a just short dream list of the things that people often forget, what sort
I
of
think
information do you want?
people often forget what's the action. They'll use words like lush or energetic. A lot of times they'll say no announcers. They don't want you to sound like the announcer. And then what you see right underneath it is announcer colon and what they say. It's like, well, you just put announcer there. Um, I it's much more, I think, serviceable to ask somebody to play an action.
Okay.
Play resentment. The political ads, they're all about resentment and anger and all that. Play, be angry. Show anger, show seduction. We
Mm,
eat chocolate. What's going to get me to eat chocolate? Nothing. Like, you're talking about love language now. So
excellent.
a lot of times it is getting what's the action behind that. Not just the action that I'm taking. How do you want me to make you feel? Want to make you feel
Ah,
safe?
okay.
Like, I'm thinking right now, Southwest Airlines. I want to get in on that action
Oh,
because be, be, I'm taking a huge leap getting on your plane. Make me feel safe. Make me not regret this. Assure me that my experience is going to be fine and I won't be spending the next 3 or 4 days lying on a bench in an airport.
yeah. They need you right now.
First of all, they do, know who you are and what who you're selling to. There there's some, what I've seen sometimes is we're looking for a middle-aged female. Okay, here I am, 25 to 35 years old. Okay,
That's
either
interesting. Middle age. Okay.
middle-aged. Yeah, definitions have changed about middle age, or like the kid who's giving these directions is 18 and 25 probably feels middle-aged to them. I have no idea. But that is not very helpful. Or
Mm.
people will say, earnest, earnest but lighthearted, fun but serious. Like, okay,
Uh,
could you pick out
pick
of this list?
which ones. Yeah.
Because in a conversation, I mean, and you don't want to go in with one, be serious. It's like, okay, we can be serious, but even when we're having a serious conversation, the tone changes. We color things. There are
Mm.
I think of food a lot,
Yeah.
but there are
There's flavors.
flavors to things. There's a color to thing. Am I making it dark? Am I making it too dark? Am I scaring people away? That's why you hear so many pharmaceuticals now that seem lighter, because
Ah,
before it used to be, now it's, take this and you'll feel better. And then side effects include all these things that can kill you. So it's the
yes.
same message, but it's a little bit more lighthearted. People experience, if you experience this, call your doctor. Whoa, I'm not taking that. I don't care how
If
nice
you
you're being.
experience a burning rash, please call your doctor. Yes.
Right. I mean, I used to have a friend who, when Viagra first came out and they said, if you have an erection for more than 4 hours, he said, if you have an erection for more than 4 hours, call me. So,
I like it. I like it. Yes. Here's my number. Yes. And give me some of those pills.
right. So, part of it is certain things that have been very serious in the past. Like, you never see an insurance ad now that's not funny or not trying to be funny.
Ah, true. True. Okay.
Liberty Mutual has all these, like, birds descending, the seagulls descending as people are having pie eating contests, or you have the guy emu, was it Limu Emu? And his Doug or whatever his name is. See how well I'm remembering these commercials. But there's a lot more humor being infused in it, and that's the other piece, is knowing what's expected in the market, because
Ah,
styles change.
styles do
Like,
change. Yeah.
even the way people of my generation speak differently than a Gen Z.
Mm,
Their
okay.
patterns, their slang changes. So when I see something, even if I can get there vocally and make myself sound younger, because we can do that, I can't make myself be that, because it feels weird.
Mm.
Feels emotionally, I can't get there unless I'm kind of making fun of it.
Yeah. It's
And
kind of
then
like
I'm the mom making
then
fun
you're
of
the
my kid.
mom. Yeah. It's like when
Yeah.
NPR tries to use modern slang, and it always is one of those moments where I'm listening, going, please stop. Please, please stop.
Y-
It's like,
You're
it sounds like you're
ruining,
saying, I'm so hip, or something.
and it's I love NPR. It's my chosen, news, but I've always felt you need a sense of humor, and you need
Mm.
a good sense of humor, because they're they're not they try.
They try,
They
but it's
try.
usually like, please don't. Please stop.
I know.
And
I know.
here's the oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that unfortunately, I'm trying to keep these within a time window, but I do want to talk to you more about this. So I'm actually going to ask if you can come back and do another one,
Oh,
because
sure.
I want to get some more details about voice work for people, because you've been well, for one, you've been in the field. I mean, you started when you were 2.
I
Yeah.
did. It was back in 1874.
But you've been in the field a long time. So while I actually do want to keep talking to you for the next 20 minutes, um, I'm mindful that Kelly is going to go, we're trying
Yeah.
to keep these in a window. So where can people find you?
People can find me. People can find me at lizsolar.com, LizSolar. I have a podcast as well, on which you will be appearing or
Yes.
heard, and it's called Embark. And that's kind of it. Every once in a while, you'll hear me on a commercial or on an e-learning app.
Oh, fantastic. So when you come back, I would really love for us to get into what different voices you can do, like different ways of communicating the same message. Because really want to get across the performance aspect that I don't know if people realize the depth that voiceover artists go to. So,
Yes. Can I leave that? Can I give something to like hang on to?
yeah.
So one of my favorite actors is the late Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Mm, yeah.
And love him, was just a chameleon in terms of performing. He was in this movie from the early 2000s called Almost Famous. It's a
Hmm.
coming of age film about a young boy who was writing for Rolling Stone magazine, following a rock band. And he plays this character called Lester Banks, who was a real Lester Banks, who was a real person who wrote for Rolling Stone magazine. So
Right.
he gives this speech at the end, and the director was expecting it to be all loud and yelling and angry. And he made it this incredibly intimate conversation, late night phone call with this young kid, and totally blew the directors away. Sometimes we just want to be surprised because everybody will go for that angry thing, and the person who goes left with something, even if it's not the right thing in the moment, people will remember, oh, they did something different. And that was interesting. That was distinctive.
And that's where the performance comes in. And that's where the art of it comes in. So
Absolutely.
thank you, because I definitely want, when anybody's listening and when anybody's coming to the work, the ongoing mastery, is performance and the art that people like you do. I just really want people to start seeing the depths of it and the layers and the flavors of it, because it's not just reading a script. Not even
Thank
close.
thank
Not
you so
even
much.
close. As someone who has tried to do VO for e-learning and then hired people because I realized that I could read the words, but I couldn't perform them the way they needed to be performed. And that's why I was always like, could we hire somebody? And they're like, well, we could do text to speech. I'm like, we could, if you want people to be miserable and be sitting in the e-learning going, ugh. It's like, human connection. Hello? That's just my thing. Okay. So I'm going to have to wrap this because, again, I'm picturing Kelly's face and she's going to be listening to this going, why did you bring me up 4 times? So everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Come to the Ongoing Mastery Presenting and Speaking LinkedIn group. Please go to Liz's website and check out her work. And we will come back and do some voices, and I will, listen to all the different characters, and that'll be a hell of a lot of fun. And other than that, we will see you all next time. Have a great one and see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.